Hi everyone, it's Chris. I run firmsconsulting.com. Welcome to this video. Today we're going to talk about, imagine you got a role that you really dreamed about. Maybe it is a role as a management consultant at McKinsey, BCG, Deloitte, Bain, or maybe it is a role as an investment banker or in corporate banking, or maybe it is a role in Facebook or Google that you really dreamed about for a long time, or maybe it is a role in a startup and you're thinking about, I got this role now, things are going to go well for me. Well, the first thing you need to remember is that this is just the first step. You really need to position yourself well within that company to do well, because all those companies are very competitive. And the second thing then, okay, so if you need to position yourself well, what is it that you need to do well? And today we're going to discuss just that. What do you do during the first 90 days in those roles, especially if you are a management consultant? Starting a new role is an adventure. It's an opportunity to reinvent yourself. No one knows you probably in this new organization you are joining, or very few people ever met you and they know you on a very superficial basis. So you can be anybody you want, and you can fix the flaws that you were working on for a long time, and you can really establish yourself in the best possible light. In this video, I will particularly focus on management consulting, but all these tips will also be applicable to banking, technology firms, startups, or basically any really high-profile roles that are very common for MBAs, for example. So all the roles that people are trying to get when they're doing the MBA, these tips will be applicable. So today I'm going to talk about 7 things you need to do to be successful during those first 90 days. The first thing is get to know senior people. The first 90 days in consulting is a great opportunity to set up introductory meetings with senior people. So if you're joining as an associate, for you senior people will be engagement managers, principals, and partners and senior partners. Remember, 8 months down the road, it will be very difficult for you to explain why you need to set up an introductory meeting and why it took you 8 months to set up an introductory meeting. So you really only have the short window within which you can introduce yourself to important senior people and get yourself noticed. In fact, because there is so much turnover in consulting, especially due to up or out policy, after 8 months you're really not going to be considered a newbie anymore. You will be considered kind of someone who's been there for a while. You may get stuffed on a project right away, in which case you will have barely any time to sleep or eat, but you still will have an opportunity to set up introductory meetings. It's just going to be much harder, and the day that you should try to aim for is Friday. So on Friday, most consultants will be back at the office and it will be an opportunity to meet with senior people. But on some projects, they may stuff you with a client that wants you there on Friday as well, or they may ask the team to stay there on Fridays as well to create the right impression with the client that you really 100% invested in this project, or if we are trying to get more work from that client. So in that situation, still try to go maybe for 2 hours away from the office of the client on Fridays and go to your consulting office and meet senior people. So for example, in my personal experience, when I joined a major consulting firm, which was the second major consulting firm I worked for, I was stuffed on a project right away, which was very tough because especially it was a project that was underway for 1 month, and there was very few opportunities for me to actually sneak out of the office. The client was very demanding. So the way I managed it is, for the first few weeks I was there on Fridays, so Monday to Friday, but then once I established my reputation a little bit, I was able to sneak out a few times on Friday to go and meet with some people in the consulting office, which fortunately was maybe about 20 minutes cab ride. So you have to find a way to do it. It's not easy sometimes, but in most cases you're not going to be stuffed immediately the same day. So you will have this small period when you will be kind of on the beach, and you can use that time to meet senior people, and you should absolutely use that time to meet senior people. You may be asking yourself, why is this type of networking so important? Well, the reason is, in consulting you have to keep yourself staffed on the right studies, and those are not always easy to find, and even when you find it, it's not easy to convince senior people to actually select you for the study. To be considered for a study, the partner needs to know that you exist, the partner needs to know about the experiences and skills you bring to the table, and the partner needs to know that you are actually interested in the type of work that they do. No matter how much staffing coordinator knows you and likes you, it's always better if partner is asking for you. There are also many situations when staffing coordinator will give partner a few choices, and it goes a long way to help you if partner actually knows you and likes you and knows that you are interested in his type of work or her type of work and knows that you have skills and experiences that are relevant. This will help you to stand out from other options that staffing coordinator proposed and probably hopefully be selected for that project. Now, how would that apply to other roles like in banking, in technology companies and startups? Obviously, take into account that it's a little bit different setup. So in banking, it may not be as easy to actually set up introductory meetings, but it is still applicable. When you're a newbie, you come in at a kind of a high-profile role, for example, after MBA, you often are able to set up introductory meetings with senior people, maybe VPs, even in other departments, and just say that I just would like to get to know people within the company. This is the only time really when people will be most open to it, unless later on you really position yourself as a top performer and then they will want to meet you because they will want you to join their department. So the second thing I want you to think about is figure out what are the performance metrics for your organization and for your role. In management consulting, things can move with the speed of light. You may join, the next day you're staffed on a project, you really don't have any time to sleep or eat, and you still have to figure out what are the performance metrics for your role. Because if you do not deliver on those metrics, if you do not show that you actually qualify as a top performer on all important criteria that you will be judged, then you will be in trouble during the performance evaluation. One of the important things in consulting will be teamwork. If you are a poor team player, even if you are an amazing person in terms of analytical abilities, problem-solving skills, you still will be considered not such a good performer and people will probably not want you on the studies. The third thing I want you to keep in mind is you need to do great work. It's kind of obvious, but it is very, very important. And when I say you need to do great work, I don't mean you need to do an average job of any person that will be in that role. You need to go way above and beyond what is expected of you. Management consulting is very hard. If you are good, people will want you on their projects. So especially during those first 90 days, you really need to work extremely hard and smart to establish a solid bulletproof reputation so that people want you on their studies. And it brings to mind a quote I really like from Stephen King, and I think that quote is really applicable to this particular point. It goes like that: talent is cheaper than table salt. What separates a successful individual from a talented one is a lot of very hard work. The fourth thing I want you to keep in mind is that you really have to take care of yourself. If you burn out after 2 years in consulting, you will have some credit, some leg to stand on, and people will give you some benefit of the doubt. They will let you take time off. They will accommodate you to help you regain your strength. But if you burn out in the first 2 months or 3 months or 4 months in your role, before you established your reputation, before you delivered exceptional results, then it will be very, very hard for you to recover from that. So while you have to be working very hard and very smart, you also have to make sure that you eat well, you exercise, you breathe fresh air, you drink a lot of water, you sleep well. All those things are very, very important, and you have to almost force yourself to do it if you have to. The fifth thing you have to do is you have to do very well on your first project. Try to figure out what senior people on the study really care about and focus particularly on those areas. So some partners will really care about problem-solving part of the engagement. So then you have to be particularly focused on delivering exceptional problem-solving work. Some partners will focus much more on relationship with the client. And then in that situation, you have to still deliver great problem-solving work, but you also need to pay particular attention to actually have very good relationship with the client and enhance the relationship with the client. One thing to remember is that you can never drop the ball. So for example, if you are absolutely exhausted and you cannot finish the work that you promised to send that night to the partner, to principal, to engagement manager, to an associate, then you have to find someone who can finish it for you, or you have to somehow finish it yourself. But it has to be done, or you have to contact the person that is waiting on you and agree with that person that you can deliver it tomorrow and make sure that it's okay with them. Sixth important thing I want you to remember is don't rock the boat. Even if you don't like the client, you do not like the people you're working with on your first project or second project, make sure that you do not make it known. Really do not share that information. Be a great team player, deliver outstanding work, go above and beyond. If you start complaining, if you will ask to be moved to another project, you will be viewed as a person who causes trouble, who is not a good team player, who is not able to adjust in difficult situations, and this is not exactly a partner material, and therefore as soon as the company sees that you are not a partner material, they will start managing you out of the firm. Even if you do not like the client or you do not like the people on the project, you cannot go and complain. You have to deliver outstanding work, do the best you can, go above and beyond, finish the project properly, and then you will have other opportunities to work with maybe better people, better clients. But if you go and you complain and you ask to be moved from this project to another project, or you will ask to do something about difficult associate or difficult engagement manager, yes, maybe your immediate problem will be resolved, but you will be labeled as someone who cannot deal with difficult situations, and a person like that is not considered a partner material, and in most firms you will be managed out. You need to be seen as somebody who can deal with difficult situations and maintain the right patina and deliver amazing results despite the difficulty of the situation. This is the kind of person that is considered to be a partner material. And as long as you are considered a partner material, you are moved higher and higher and higher up within a consulting firm. The same thing will be applicable in other organizations, like for example in banking. You don't want to rock the boat. Yes, things may be very difficult. You may end up working with a manager who is just a horrible person, but you have to deliver amazing results, and then when opportunity arises for you to switch to another role or to maybe even exit the organization, then you take it. But if you go and complain, yes, maybe your immediate problem again will be resolved, but you will be labeled as someone who is not a team player, not able to deal with difficult situations. Most likely this other person you really don't like has a lot of political capital within the organization, and you complaining will lead to people choosing sides, and you're new, so what are the chances somebody will be taking your side? So it's better to just don't rock the boat. Just remember that, don't rock the boat. No matter how difficult things are, you smile and wave. Remember, like in Madagascar, you just smile and wave, you do your best work, you just deliver the best results you can possibly deliver for the client, for your firm, and then the right opportunity will arise and you will move on to another study or to another project if you are not in consulting, and things will be better. But be a person that people know in a difficult situation this person still performs and doesn't go and complain to everybody about it, but instead just makes the most of the situation and is still a very reliable team player. And the seventh thing I want you to remember is emulate communication and just behavior style of senior and very successful people. If you're new to the firm, what is very helpful that I found is to find someone on the team that you can constantly observe, that you could emulate. But they have to be very successful, they have to be a top performer. Don't emulate somebody who is an underperformer and is about to be managed out of the firm. So let's say you are an engagement manager and there is a principal above you that is very successful. They're just about to get promoted. Watch how do they speak to clients. Watch what language they use in the emails. In consulting, usually many of the emails to client are actually CC'd to the rest of the team, and emails to the team, most of them are CC'd to the rest of the team. So you will have visibility on how people communicate. So watch at the language that he or she is using and try to copy it, emulate it. But then also be careful. So for example, let's say you are an engagement manager and there is a senior partner on the project who is incredibly successful and you really want to be like him or her, and you watched him, let's say it's a man, engage with the senior executive. But take into account what kind of relationship they have. Maybe they have been friends for the longest time. Maybe they used to be roommates in college. So for example, if they make fun of each other, laugh all the time, that's not necessarily something that will be appropriate for you to do. So obviously use common sense, but generally this is very, very helpful. If you are new, you don't know what to do, you don't know how to communicate, to position yourself in the right way. Watch how successful people on the team position themselves, communicate, engage, and try to emulate it. and then you will develop your own style over time. You're not a copycat, don't worry about that. You're just learning, you are accelerating your progress within the firm by emulating very successful people, and then once you establish certain reputation and you learn their style, then you can adjust it to your individual qualities, your individual values, and make it your own. I know it's not easy to start a new role, especially if you are new to that type of work, for example, management consulting. When you start in a new role, in a new organization, you usually have no leg to stand on, you have no allies and no credit. You will need to learn really fast, not make any enemies, not create bad impression about yourself, and keep pushing forward. Beyond the 90 days, I would say the first 9 months are really crucial for you to establish your reputation. So you push really hard during the first 90 days, then you will be quite tired. You can just pull it back just a little bit, give yourself a little more margin to breathe and to sleep more and so on. But still push really hard until 9 months mark to establish yourself as best as you can. Basically, enough people need to know that you are amazing for about 9 months before you can establish your reputation. But remember that this is only applicable if you're working on multiple studies. If you're working on just one really long study that goes on for 9 months, then it may take longer because only very few people within an organization will know how good you are. Over-investing during the first few months really pays off. I know it based on my own experience. This is when you are establishing your reputation. Take care of yourself so you do not burn out, but also keep pushing as hard as you can so you can develop a momentum for your career. And you really will want that momentum to be a top performer. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Best of luck with your new role, and I'm looking forward to see you next time.